Hi everyone, Big Thinny Cough Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new COVID getting me sick. COVID, or COVID-19, the contagious disease that you guys might remember kicked off the big pandemic of 2020. Through quarantining, through masking, through vaccinating, and through boosting, I've managed to avoid catching this disease, or at least becoming deeply infected with it, for a couple of years now. However, I thought eventually I would most likely catch it, run into it at some point, and it seems that that time is now. Funny that I didn't even catch it at like a show or at the supermarket or something like that, a place where I would usually be like masked up. No, I ended up catching it from a personal associate of mine who wasn't even exhibiting typical COVID symptoms in that moment. And I wouldn't even say my COVID experience was typical to that of a lot of the descriptions that were being put out there when the disease was originally spreading. I had 2 days of the sniffles, kind of a post-nasal drip thing, and nothing else in addition to that. And then after this 2-day period, it escalated into achiness, into fatigue, into wild temperature swings. Sometimes I was hot. Sometimes I was cold. The sniffles were there and a cough was developing, but it wasn't a super intense one per se. And for 2 days, this thing kind of rocked me, like really left me feeling tired, left me feeling deflated. While my taste and sense of smell wasn't completely gone, it did feel like it was lessened in some ways. It was after those 2 days that I decided to test, and yeah, pretty quickly it came up positive. But thankfully, after that 2-day period, the major symptoms started to subside, the achiness was gone, the temperature swings were going away. Just continued on this slow upward trajectory. Several days after my first test, I tested again, still positive. However, it was 3 or 4 days later on the weekend that I decided to give it another go, and it finally did come up negative. Cool. However, even though I did turn up negative, and I did hear that this would be the case from the medical professional that I talked to, I still have this lingering cough. And even though pretty much every symptom I experienced for the week that I really had this thing bad, yeah, everything is gone. Feeling pretty much myself in every possible way. Yeah, this cough is like still sticking around. Not even feeling the fatigue at this point, as I am back on my exercise regimen. I've been lifting weights again. Haven't really noticed any, loss in terms of like my capacity for strength or my energy level when it comes to work and focusing generally. And at times I will go periods without coughing or feeling like a tickle in my throat or anything like that. But every once in a while, if I am doing a lot of heavy breathing or talking or like drinking a super cold drink, something like that, will just sort of start to come back with a vengeance. And I will go into these absolutely horrid coughing fits that, I don't wish on anyone. A lot of people in my Twitch audience have been watching me do them live, and even though, again, in many ways I feel like myself and I feel fine, to many who are witnessing them, they do sound pretty concerning, and they're worried, and yeah, it doesn't really feel all that great either. So I put all this out there to say that COVID is a thing. COVID sucks. It doesn't feel good. If you can do those little sensible common sense things that I think we should be doing to slow the spread of the disease, do them. Wear a mask. Maybe don't go out or get close to other people if you're feeling super ill. Get vaxxed or boosted if you can, because even though I had the experience that I did, which again, far from the worst in terms of what I've read, and obviously millions of people have died from this thing, it's for sure not the sickest I've ever been. But my point is ultimately there are some, especially those who are immunocompromised, who this gives a much more difficult time than me. And especially for their sake, I think it is important to do your best to, just like not spread this thing around too much. Especially since this thing is still hospitalizing people and also, taking some of our favorite artists who we talk about on this channel off tour. However, in many cases, they're not even able to say it because a lot of these tour insurance packages don't cover freaking getting COVID, which I don't know why they don't, but they don't. Which again is why I think a lot of you guys should maybe be trying to, take some precautions at some shows, because who the hell wants their favorite singer or rapper or vocalist spoken word artist, to catch this horrible thing that takes your breath away and makes it difficult to talk for long periods of time. Even in the state that I'm at now, where I feel pretty much fine and like, the regular old me, I can't imagine having to get on a stage every night, every other night, even every 3 nights or something, and sing with this. Feels terrible just with talking, and again, can't imagine it. Since COVID came on the scene and really kind of like grabbed everybody's attention, it's truly failed to continue doing so over time. And I think it's most likely due to the fact that COVID has been, instead of like, reforming and coming up with something new or original or wowing us in some way, it's just like dropping all of these variants of the same thing, many of which are like weaker than the original COVID-19 virus that originated out of Wuhan. And due to that, I think COVID is kind of losing touch with its original vibe in a way. I mean, if I could talk to COVID, I would just like straight up tell it, pick a struggle, pick a lane. Not special, not original, not cool or interesting, just annoying and made me feel like shit, which is why I'm going to give this COVID probably a light 2. Yeah. Probably a light 2 on this COVID. Now, of course, I'm being silly, and I don't mean to downplay the severity of this disease. This sucks, and just want to remind you guys as we're going through a season where things seem to be like, ramping up, do your best to just make sensible and good choices, in this current situation. Love you. You're the best. Thank you for watching. Transition, have you given this COVID a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, COVID, I hate it.